Had to get the vibes right. Had to remind everybody, all listeners watching,
That was
don't panic, man.
that was
We
a
gon'
good vibe.
we gonna be okay. You
Yeah.
feel what I'm saying? We still gonna be here,
Regardless of the outcome.
regardless of the outcome. You know what I'm saying? How you doing?
Man, still on vacation, brother. I'm feeling refreshed.
Nice.
Man.
All right. You feel me? Shout out to my
Shoot.
9 to 5ers. Shout out
Hey,
to my
man.
9 to 5ers.
That's how to take vacations, man. You gotta know how to do that sometimes, man. Your
Shout out
body.
to take a vacation.
Whatever that look like for you on your vacation tip, man. Just get you a
Definitely
breather.
need a vacation.
Get you a breather. What you got set up though for it?
Well, we got a cabin. We supposed to be doing the cabin.
Oh snap. Okay.
It's like,
Wintertime?
yeah.
With the snow and all?
Trying to
Okay,
catch the snow.
okay. Why is it for a southerner? Like our vacations, like I gotta see some
So
snow.
we don't never see snow, bro. I seen snow 2 times in my entire life.
Shoot.
3 times when I went to Delaware.
Mm.
But bro, snow is a special effect. Really, snow really aggravating because I ain't gonna lie. No, I lie. I was in a snowstorm in Atlanta, and that was the most snow I ever seen in my life. To the point where, because we're not prepared for snow.
No,
so
we're not built
it
for
literally
that.
shut the city down.
Yes, it did.
I mean, and too much snow honestly get aggravating because bro, you can't walk. The snow started to look dingy and dirty.
Man, I go visit my family in Jersey. It's just too much they gotta do to get moving in the snow. Like you get up early in the morning, you gotta shovel it, but you gotta wear some boots. You gotta know what type of salt to use. And this is before you go to work. I'm all right. I'm not built for the activity of snow.
Get your scratches in. Look, man, we're doing a big Tuesday podcast.
Tuesday, man, we gotta speak about it.
On election day.
On election day.
The title of the podcast is Follow the Leader.
Follow
We're
the
going to get
lead.
into that. We're going to get into that. But let's go ahead and chew at the elephant in the room. It's election day. Did you vote?
Yeah, man. I voted.
Your civic duty?
I did my civic duty just out of rights of doing it. It's parties indifferent. I don't view my viewpoints on both parties are both misled. Like I know what they're selling, I know what their forecast is, but it's always what you don't hear about that gets me kind of worrying. Because you're trying to promise so much and you still got to deliver. And it's so much you still got to bank on. You should vote. Voting does matter. But I think as you get older, it's like, what am I really voting for? Like, what's my viewpoints on these versus somebody else's? And
Yeah.
That's millennials talking. Are you a millennial?
yeah.
I feel that's a lot of millennials talking because older people now, they're like, I need to vote. I have to vote. Us, now we're like, what's the point?
I mean, I mean,
Wait.
what you got to think about, I look at it from the place where the people do it, at least do it to honor the people who fought so hard to have this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And we get like, okay, we grown, we know the political game, and we know the political game is to sell themselves.
Yeah.
So it's promises, it's bashing the other. Like we know the political game, we get that.
Right.
But honestly, it's like we gotta go. Really, you should vote off really your life. You should vote off your belief. You should vote on what you believe to be right or true. Now, does it feel pointless sometimes? Yeah. To me, I look at it as two different sides of the same coin. It's like, you feel what I'm saying? I do look at it like that. I while I don't agree with people who don't vote, I don't knock them. I get it. You know what I'm saying? Halftime, I don't be, at least the last couple of years, I think the last time I was excited to vote, really excited to vote, was President Obama.
Yeah.
And that was like one of my first, because I was young then. But I think one of the last times I was excited to vote was for Obama. But, it's a lot going on. It's definitely showing people, I wouldn't say true colors, but it's exposing a lot. It's causing too much, it's causing tension that I think is unnecessary, especially amongst believers. It's like, listen,
Yo.
you can't, a political race should not be causing division amongst believers. Like I can disagree with you without you feel what I'm saying, hating you. Like it's okay to disagree with a person. Like I'm on this podcast, I don't expect everyone watching to agree with me. I don't expect the people who I do the podcast with to agree with me. You know, not with everything. I mean,
It's like we serve a God. That's our master. That's our authority. Like this presidential election, we still got to consider that God determines our outcome. You know, if you're a believer, we follow Christ. We don't follow man in their rules and jurisdictions. We pay attention to it because we definitely need those eyes and ears to kind of know what to pray for and strategically be placed within the political parties to gain influence for God's purposes. But every 4 years and every time in this year, it gets tight to where people, we to determine who we want to follow, we got to show the worst in that person instead of what they can accomplish, what they can do. And each party is faulted for their own. Like Republicans is no greater than Democrats. Democrats is no greater than Republicans. That's just my viewpoint.
yeah, and
You know.
And I agree. I do understand it. Just speaking from African American perspective, I get it. Like I understand. Like, I look at it. That's why I do not talk politics at work at all because it's so many people in like they talk about it from an emotional standpoint, and I'm like, I'm not even gonna speak to you. For one, like I can talk to white males who can speak about it outside of emotion, but I don't talk to white males, black males, but especially white males who are extra emotional about it. I stay away from the conversation because like you don't really want to you don't really want to hear my perspective.
No,
Because I'm gonna give you my perspective from the perspective of an African American. You know what I'm saying? And vice versa. Like a lot of black people, a lot of us aren't willing to hear the other side of the story.
True.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's
Like,
too much emotions involved for me. Like if we gonna look at it for what it is. Like what the policy is, what they're trying to do, and not the person. Regardless, some people don't want to vote for Kamala because she's a woman and she's of color.
Yeah.
And some people don't want to vote for Trump because he's Trump. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
You've got that principle just off the humanistic part, but then you break down and see what morals and views that connects with your own, like the Project 2025, which I've read up on. I feel like it's an atrocious type of situation to put on a woman and her issues, and as a black man, I should stand up for him just because I had a black mother.
yeah.
And if somebody told me, like my mom, like, hey, listen, you had complications with me and you had to do something, then if you do it, it's consequences. I don't know how I feel good about that if, my mama was put in that scenario when having me. So, and then you have the other side of it, whether, you non-taxing overtime. Like, I firmly believe in that. I'm like, hey, listen, as much as we get taxed, you think not having tax on overtime is a powerful issue? How much money could that put back in people's pockets? So each party has a particular viewpoint. It's just the mischievous manipulation and the diabolical methods they go about it that turns me off from wanting to be engaged. I would say pay attention to your state and local, political parties more because they affect you on an everyday more so than the national.
Yeah.
National still has to get passed. Still has to depend on who's running the House because whoever gets the House can have more power if it's in your party's persuasion. But if not, then
All I'm saying is, listen, I'm speaking this moment right here. I'm speaking to my fellow African Americans. Do not let an election split us in half. Like already, look. Do not listen. We don't need black women hating black men. We don't need black men hating black women. We do not need an election because whoever is the president, whoever becomes the president, we're still going to need each other the same day. Now that goes for everyone, but I'm speaking to my people at this very moment. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's like this is not the time to be split in half over an election.
Right.
And when I don't get you still the day after the election, and I don't know when you're watching this. Probably when you're watching this, we already have the president, and
Yeah.
I hope we're not in a civil war as you're watching this right now.
But we don't.
Like, you know what I'm saying? But I don't like the fact that a civil war is a joke, but an actual like
Yeah.
it's an actual concern. Like we may not want to speak about it, but we don't know. I don't know what's about to happen. We don't know.
We don't know.
The last time, what January 6th, a day we never forget.
Yeah.
People was climbing. When we never thought we'd see it. When I looked at that TV,
Domestic, indigenous.
when I looked at that
Americans.
TV, and I'm like, listen, I am not racist at all. Listen, some of my lifelong brothers are of different cultures, white and like lifelong.
Yeah.
But now that I said that, I looked at that TV and I seen all them people climbing and sitting in chairs and sitting in office, and my initial thought was, yeah, we be dead. Well, we be dead. We be dead. We wouldn't have made it. We wouldn't have made it to the front door.
Come on, man.
We wouldn't have made it to the front. That was my initial thought. Like,
100 black
how in
people.
the world is this even going on right now? Because I promise you, they would have had Black Hawks coming down. Like we'd have been dead. You know what I'm saying?
National Guard would have been out ready to shoot us on
And
day.
in case you, and I'm not making this a race part or nothing like that, but in case you want to know what black people mean by white privilege, because that's a big topic. Because I got some great. I know some great men who white, and we had this conversation without emotion, and it's like that's always an issue because they don't understand what we mean by white privilege. We don't mean that you had it easier, but in certain situations, like you don't understand, okay, I had a dude. He came to job. He was complaining. He got pulled over. They searched him and he was just irate. He was angry, and I'm like, yo, I done had that done at least 20 times.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's what we mean by white privilege. Yeah. Or like okay, just, let's say you want to go get a coffee. Like you walk in, and nobody clutches their purse. See, it's little things that if I talk to a fellow black man, he'll know. Like I
pick up on it.
Like I done walked in stores, and you see you see the older white lady get nervous and keep looking behind her back like 3 times. Like what you know what I'm saying?
Like ain't nobody here for you, lady.
That's what we mean by white privilege. You know what I'm saying? We don't mean that you had it easy or whatever, but we mean that in certain situations you have a privilege
white
unknown.
Privilege really means no matter the level or form of class of white individual that you serve, it still is somewhat of a trump card in a black person's circumstances or scenarios. You could take a poor, lower class white person in a situation with a police. He still has more chances of the benefit of the doubt than the black person does. So,
what is it?
It's just I can't say it in the middle.
But as for a believer, man, we don't wrestle with flesh and blood, but we deal with wickedness and spiritual wickedness in high places. So don't let that mislead you on the task that we still serve our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. And the fact of the matter is that let's really focus on who's the real enemy and what's the real objective. Because we can get caught into a left wing or a white wing, but we don't serve those. We serve a kingdom. And we have a kingdom agenda. And we don't get caught up in this because our book tells us the test of time, what's going to happen already. We're just preparing for it. We just need ears and eyes to the flow with these policies and procedures so we can know where to strategically put our people to counteract that.
And with that, I'm gonna just die because I like that, and we can talk all day. I just like this. I like to come from. I like to speak about it. But that is true. We get so caught up in what we see and who we see that we like, and we do fight. The fight is not with flesh and blood. The fight is not with each other. The fight is it's a spiritual battle. You know what I'm saying? Wickedness in high places.
Yeah, man.
And that's just the truth. But we gonna slide in. Follow the leader.
Follow the
Follow
leader.
the leader. That's the title of the podcast. In our society today, it started out with the cancel culture. It started out with the the internet. I believe has created a culture of sheeple.
Sheeple. Do bust that down.
Break it down.
Toby Nwigwe, he coined that in one of his raps. Basically, sheep people follow the leader. Sheep, basically like we follow the leader. Okay, I'm not gonna do something unless I know that the mass agrees with it, or I'm not gonna step out and believe this thing that God is showing me
Yeah.
because of fear of basically a fear of what people may think, a fear of basically a fear of man. Like I'm not gonna do this because it's different. I'm not gonna do this because it's never been done. I'm not gonna step out because it goes against the grain. You know what I'm saying? Follow the leader. It's easy.
good.
It's easy to fall in line. It's easy to be like everybody else because when you like everybody else, you feel like you're part of something. But the moment that you step out,
You gotta guide.
the moment that you step out and you start to blaze a different trail, you know what I'm saying? It's scary. One, because it's never been done, and two, everybody who is doing the same thing now looking at you crazy. You know what I'm saying? So now you feel like an outcast. Now you may feel rejected, and which everybody who does something great feels this way at some point of their
it's a
journey.
process, yeah.
At some point of their journey. Like at some point they feel rejected. They feel isolated because they're stepping out and they're going against the grain and they're doing something not
Not in the norm.
yeah, not in the norm, not what the mass agrees with. They're not following the leader. I just feel like, and I'm gonna dive. I just feel like now at this moment of time, like God is calling us to have courage, and whatever that looks like, to be bold in what you believe in, to stand up, in your faith, and to live a courageous life, to do what He is telling you to do, how He is telling you to do, and
Unapologetically.
unapologetic. I just seen. Then I'm gonna let you slide. I just seen a Kobe Bryant clip, and he said, "Leadership is lonely," and that could be basically in any capacity. Like you have to, like you're not gonna be able to, if you're seeking to make everybody happy, then just forget about
Yeah.
purpose and God's call and obedience and anything that is what we would call great. Forget about it. If you're trying to make everybody happy, if you're trying to please everybody now, because I can go on and on. I can rant. You can tell it's been on my mind, but you can go ahead.
This is a perfect time and place to talk about it. Follow the leader. Courage. Courage to step out on your own. And the fact that you talked about it, me going to support one of my close friends in Macon, and they did this business class the way they had to have finalists present business propositions. Well, his was the only unique. Shouts out to my boy Eric Holmes. Tremendous podcast. Tremendous Society, his new business that's coming. And it's something that's going to revolutionize downtown Macon. Well, during the business proposal, there's nobody else that had anything remotely close to that. It was similar things: healthcare, beauty, aesthetics, media, but it was nothing else on the wine. He didn't wind up getting the grant, but in that moment, it taught me something. It was just like, you can either, because there's moments in time where God is going to have you do the simple thing. The simple thing to get established, to take pics, to get those likes, to get that contract. They're going to do the simple things.
Yeah.
And then there's other situations to where you're going to have to be called to be a trendsetter. You're going to have the courage to put the plan together, regardless of what your family say or what your friends telling you why you're putting the plan together, because it's like it's never been seen before. And so when you're dealing with something that's never been seen before, that's never been created in your current environment, you're not going to have a lot of likes. You're not going to have a lot of believers because most people are reactive.
Yeah.
We want to see how it works before we invest in it.
Right.
It's almost a sense of, that's how they treat God in the sense of faith. They're like, God, let me see you do something for me before I believe in you. Once I see you do it,
Try me.
you know what I'm saying? Then you shake some. Then, all right, I'm going to fully go in. But he didn't get the grant. That wasn't the issue. The fact of the matter is he took a time to step out that says to create something that's going to revolutionize the downtown Macon and nobody's done before. Sometimes we have to understand that faith comes with courage. Not to follow a certain person, to not to do the things for the likes. Your idea may sound crazy. It may be crazy because nobody's ever seen it done.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that it's a failure. You're just one of those people like Albert Einstein, George Washington Carver, anybody who invented something that was never done before. You don't have any past experiences for it. It's never been done. You got to have a sound ear, and you got to be bold. You got to be willing to fail 99 times in order for that one light bulb to work. But once that one light bulb went off, it revolutionized electricity for the whole world. So what am I saying? Having courage is meaning at all costs, your word and God's word is the only word that you're going to follow in that moment. That's the only word that means if God is telling you go, there's nothing else that should matter. There's nothing else around you that should hold you. If God has laid it out for you to go, to do, to look up, to research, to read, then have that courage. Even if you lack the courage in your own life.
Faith is
Man, that thing is pulsating. It's a muscle. Faith is literally a muscle that you exercise and you work. The less faith you use, the weaker your faith can be. But you only need a mustard seed. That's what God said. So what are we talking about with courage and following, man? Like this election, people are being bold. You're putting your words to action. You're going to a ballot, but what are you doing for your own life? Are you voting in your own life? Are you taking that courage to step out and be your own trailblazer? Or restructure your finances? What does your courage look like to you?
faith is believing in God. It's having faith faith is believing in God and who He is. Can you pull up Galatians 1:10? Galatians 1:10.
Just stroll to it.
Get it, saints, please say.
We talking about courage. I'm even bringing the Bible out on this.
Amen. All right.
Bringing out Galatians 1:10.
Gal.
I want to believe because faith is believing God. Like okay, we talked about Noah in the video at the beginning of the podcast.
1:10.
Sometimes being courageous looks like building a boat when it has never rained before. You feel what I'm saying? Got it?
Yeah. All right. Galatians 1:10. New King,
Little rain stuff, huh?
but
It's all right.
New King James Version.
It's all right.
All right, Galatians. Galatians 1:10.
Galatians 1:10.
All right. Come on now.
They don't ask me again. Did you say Old Testament or New Galatians?
All right, come on. Okay, here we go. Stroll. All right. For do I now persuade men or God? Or do I seek to please men? For if I still please men, I would not be a bondservant of Christ.
And that is what are we talking about. Being courageous sometimes looks like building a boat when it has never rained before. Sometimes being courageous is believing, okay, God says do this and do it this way. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna wisdom will speak at the end of it, but at the beginning of it, you're gonna look like a fool. Will you still do it?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're gonna look like a fool at the beginning. Will you still do it? Will you trust me for the beginning? This is what courage looks like. This is what like I'm gonna need you to be strong and courageous. How many times is that repeated in the Bible? I know there's an actual number. I don't feel like looking it up, but it's a lot. It's a lot that in the Bible it says over and over again, do not be afraid. You know what I'm saying?
Fret not.
Fret not. Be courageous.
Be anxious for nothing.
Be anxious for nothing. But Audrey said it in one of our podcasts. There is no need for me to tell you do not be afraid if there's not something in front of you that is scary. You know,
Yeah.
I don't have to tell you to have courage if there's nothing coming that's gonna require courage. Man, look, we in a time right now where we need you to do whatever it is that God's telling you to do it. However, say whatever it is to say. Step, build whatever He's telling you to build. It's like we need it. Like we need people to believe God and do it.
Yeah. It's got to be some. This is the age of execution, right? Because you look
Age
at
of
the word.
execution. I like it.
Because we being leaders of Christ, we're supposed to be on the forefront of execution when it comes to God's word in your life. If you're not, then the world is going to be. The secular world will be. They will make that idea. They will take your idea. They will be bold. While we're in this situation, in this time of election, elect yourself to be more bold in your life. You know, deem yourself esteemed high in your business plans and your ventures that God is giving you. Like, why listen to somebody else's voice to tell you what they can do for your life when you know what God says for you in His Word, and so all you need to do now is just execute it. Write the vision, make it plain.
Write the vision, make it plain.
Come on,
Okay, you got a little word in it.
man. It's just a little word on. It's
hey,
just a little, election.
No, I do. Courage. It takes courage to believe. It takes courage to stay. Courage also looks like, okay, believing God. It's not just in the big stuff. Okay, God says, okay, I need you to cut this off. I don't like this. Courage is also pursuing a life that like because I was telling Keandra, I was like, it was like God gave me a glimpse of who He called me to be, and to be honest, it was intimidating, because you see that, you want that, but you also know what that comes with.
Yeah.
That comes with a different level of living.
Yeah.
Okay, that comes with
Speak it.
this gotta go. You feel what I'm saying? Like this is a journey. Like from the beginning of No Labels to until this thing gonna end. Like where I'm at now is not where I started on the first episode. You know what I'm saying?
No.
Like it's things that I struggle with now that I'm getting through, and it's things that I have conquered.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not the same person, and to obey God is to do it all the way. You know what I'm saying? And to have a relationship is just that. In the Bible again, it says God chastens every son that He receives. It's like I correct my son. If your God is only speaking good and He's never saying, "Hey, you prideful," hey, that jealousy, I need that gone. Hey, that lust, I need if that is never your communion with God, then I don't believe you are speaking to God.
Right.
That's a fairy in your mind. You actually talk to yourself.
Yeah.
Because if your God never corrects you, then I'm not sure that you're hearing from God. But that's just my 2 cents. I'm just saying.
God. That ain't God. That's God. that is your fabrication of what you want God to sound like, because you really don't want to know the truth of what God is going to tell you to do. Because any great thing that God asks you to do is always an exchange. You got to give up something.
That's
As
true.
I decrease, you got to increase. I got to deny myself.
You gotta die.
Yeah. So, in this season of courage, people, what we're asking you is doing what you always talked about. Doing that business plan, taking those family trips, right? That calls us for what? Discipline, but that also causes you to be in tune with who you're going to follow. Like in this season of persuasion, because the fool and the prophet are always going to be here. You got a lot of people out here telling you what they going to do and how they can make your life better. Only God and you can do that. So you got to have that forthcoming, that testicular fortitude, as they used to say back in the
Know
day.
what that mean? But that was a word.
You ain't never heard
That was a word. I know what fortitude is.
The
I ain't
testicular
gonna lie,
fortitude.
I thought you were trying to say something else at the beginning.
No,
You know what I'm saying?
my grandma used to say, "Boy, you got the testicular fortitude."
You know what
to
that
talk to
sound
me."
like, right? Yeah, I'm just, you know what it sounds like. So, I mean, but I get it though.
But
You know what I'm
you
saying?
got the goals to stand up to me. You know,
Did it again.
you're right. I'm just saying,
Oh,
but
that's what it is.
you got the
You got the
goals
goals.
to stand up. And my grandma was like a personal, powerful figure in my life. But when she said that, I laughed. I got a whooping after that because I did something wrong. But the point is, who's gonna stand up for your life? Who's gonna make those decisions? You're gonna let this world, you're gonna let the left or the right party do it for you, or you're gonna make those decisions that impacts your family directly for you? Are you gonna be that bold? Are you gonna knock that business plan? Are you gonna go back to school? Are you gonna actually put your kids through school, like you said, or just be there for your daughters more? Like, be courageous, be courage, and don't follow somebody whose benefit is not invested in yours.
Follow the leader of
You know?
Nah, that's real. Uh,
Yeah.
no, it's a person. Okay, I don't know how God. I know how God shows it to me, but it's a person that God showed. Like basically, you know who God shows you to be. It's a person that you visualize. If you're not already that person, some people is walking in that, but
Yeah.
it's a person that you see yourself as, and like it's a way that you see yourself, and it's like you gotta have the courage to become that person. It's a way that you see yourself when you're daydreaming. It's certain scenarios that you put yourself in. You know what I'm saying? Because we're always the main character of our movies. So it's like
Yeah.
it's a certain way you see yourself. Like you may see yourself as a CEO, or you may see yourself as a minister of the gospel. You may see yourself as whatever the case may be, and I need you to have the courage to be that person.
Yeah.
And what I'm saying, like I was saying, like you know what it's gonna take, and it's like you like this journey. It requires it's gonna require sacrifice. Sacrifice requires courage. It requires faith. It requires you leaning your entire being on the faithfulness of God. Yeah, it's gonna require that. Know God, know Him.
Yeah.
That's if I got one message, it's always gonna come back. I want you to know God for you, because you you're gonna need courage to make a decision also, because you're gonna want to have a relationship with God, because some moments come and you have to make a decision quickly. Like you don't have time to fast for 20 days and go into prayer. Some moments you're gonna have to make a decision there and now, or miss the moment.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So you want to be able to hear in the moment when it's time to make a decision, and then have the courage to make the decision. Because some opportunities they only there. Like the Eminem. You know what I'm saying? You gotta lose yourself in the music. You gotta lose. But never let it go. You only get one shot. Do not miss your chance to blow, cause opportunity comes once in a lifetime. Hey, you feel me? It's like
Yeah.
certain situations.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Certain situations,
Bars.
not all situations, but it's some opportunities are put in front of you, and you have to make a decision. At that moment, you don't need to be trying to reach God all of a sudden. Like you and Him need to already be walking
Come on, y'all already
Side
need
by
to be
side.
linked
You know
in
what I'm
together.
saying?
Because these times are, we don't know what these times are going to bring, but God prepares for us. So in the season of casting your vote, I vote for you to cast yourself as first.
Cash your kids.
Put God first in your life, then you come, because you got to make decisions for other people. And what we're asking for you is just to do what you always said you were going to do. You know, people talk about what they're going to do a lot, and we're in a world nowadays where we want action, but in God's kingdom, he needs words and actions. He needs the praises and the doing.
Let's be clear. Like you said, we don't know what God is doing. We don't. We don't. No one knows what's going on or what's going to come to be. But you feel it. We all feel something. Like you even got like you can feel the weightiness of the times that we're living in. Like no man knows the day or the hour where Christ comes back. So I don't even speak on that. Like because the Bible says occupy until I return. So I'm going to keep occupying. But at the same time, we can feel it in our spirit that we're living in a time like no other. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a like you can feel it in your spirit. I'm not saying you can almost feel something coming, but we don't even. It's hard to put in words. Like I'm not saying doomsday. I'm not saying go and hide in bunker.
Right.
But you can feel the weightiness of now, and it's that's why it's about courage because it's time to get serious. It's a time to get focused. It's a time to have courage. It is not time to lay down. It is not time to procrastinate. It is not time to play. It is a time to move.
Yeah. You done wrestle with you long enough. You done had that business plan, that idea. You done thought about moving long enough. You thought about changing your hair long enough. You thought about it long enough. When are you going to put it to play? To better your life for you, your family, and whoever else is connected to you. The courage part is standing up in spite of opposition. It's not a popular being courageful and having that boldness. It's not for likes, it's not for popularity, it's not for awards. That's an internal personal drive. It's almost like Wale and Ambition. I love that song.
I got my
Yeah, man.
ambition. Hey.
I wish I knew the words.
What you was saying?
I didn't know that.
But
What you was saying?
no, I was just talking about the, this ambition part, being ambitious for your dreams. And let's focus on let's talk about the leader, man. Let's talk about who you walking behind. Like assess your leader, talk to your leader. If you got a mentor in your life, reassess that situation, man, cuz sometimes we're following people just the blind leading the blind.
That's
They're telling you you should, but not giving you any resources, or they're afraid of your potential, and you're allowing them to hold you back because you value their word more than yourself. That's a problem. Not in this age where cost of living is high, gases and taxes, healthcare is all over the place. People are just trying to earn a daily living and be in peace.
You said you trust in their word more than yourself.
Yeah.
What you mean by that? 'Cause that was fire.
Because there's a misconception. There's a thin line between you can believe in somebody because of what they've done in your life,
Yeah.
or how they're consistently showing up in your life and being a proven factor. They never should be, their voice never should be above yours. It always should be God's voice than yours and whoever else comes next. Even if that mentor or that person has done good, never give somebody that much power to where they're over your.
At that point, they're the idol.
Dear God.
You know what I'm saying? Even as followers in Christ, and we have an apostle, we have pastors, but he still encourages us to have a relationship with God so he can know.
Oh no, that's first. That's
You know what I'm saying? Like, so
first.
don't misconstrue it. These people are good in your lives, the ones that are proven to be good. You need those people. They call tribes, they call support. But if they're telling you something and you have a craving in your belly, you have that gut instinct that God is leading you somewhere, and because they can't see the full vision.
Well, God ain't told them.
Right.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
because they didn't give you the full okay doesn't mean you downgrade on your progression towards that goal. Because God is not going to give everybody else the full viewpoint for your life. He barely even gives it to you.
Right.
You have to.
Cause you might be like,
You gotta know.
I'm good.
You definitely gotta know because I mean, and we all done been there, and it's like, you can definitely make an idol out of a person unintentionally.
Unintentionally.
Unintentionally. Like you always like honor is required. Honor is required, not worship.
Yeah.
God requires you to honor people, not
Yeah.
worship them.
Honor that mother,
You know what
not
I'm
father.
Huh?
How do you separate the two?
Because honor is like you honor a person for who it is. Like you like okay, you honor. Let's say in the military, I'm gonna honor a general, or a general. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna if the president of the United States walks in, I'm gonna honor him.
You're
We're
gonna give
get
that
on our feet.
respect. Right.
You know what I'm saying? When apostle goes to go up and preach, you know what I'm saying? They stand. You know what I'm saying? Or when apostle enters the room, they stand. We're gonna honor them for who they is because the person like Moses, they honor Moses. They didn't worship Moses, but they honor him to this day. You know what I'm saying? Moses is honored for who he is because you deserve that. You know what I'm saying? But everything still goes back to God. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of us has that mix. That's a bad situation when you can't even believe yourself.
Yeah,
Because you're torn between what you feel, what you know, and the blind spots of people that you may respect. Like they may be blind to this at this moment. Like, and it's like you want everybody to agree. Like especially the people who you look up to, you want them to agree. But if God telling you this and they don't see, then you still gotta proceed.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because it goes back to the verse. Like, who am I? If I seek to please men, then I'm not a bondservant of Christ.
Yeah, and you said a good point on what's the difference. Like when you honor somebody versus worshiping, you worship God, you honor men. It's given a self reverence of respect to honor, like you honor your mother and your father because of who they are. Don't mean you always agree with that person, but if you got a good mentor in your life, you respect their opinion, respect their views. Once you start worshiping somebody, it's almost into like a religious cult, is when you hang your life essence on what that person says. That's the main difference. It's like what they say is gold and God, and no matter how good somebody has been to you in your life, you always leave that pocket for God. You worship God. You love and respect men and women, but you don't give them, even if your friend says, I don't see it, or I don't think that's completely a good idea. It's not that it's wrong. You don't lose that, well, if she said it wasn't really good, then I guess it's not. No. You're giving them too much power. They just had an opinion.
Right.
They just don't see the whole angle of what you explaining or expounding on as far as your idea of what you want to do. But God is going to give you totality of how to lay it out. He's going to give you the resources. He's going to give you the people. So when you don't know God, a person is a placeholder, but they isn't God. Meaning you don't slide a person as making them a deity.
You can't.
That's false idol. That's worship.
You worship, and the thing is, like once you realize that, because God does put he does put leaders in your life, and sometimes people may believe you may be thinking a thing, and then there are people in your life, elders. The God does put people in life who have genuine love for you, and sometimes they may pick apart your idea and tell you, hey, this is not what you thought it was, and sometimes they may be. Sometimes it's good advice.
Yeah.
So it's a line. It's a thin line. Like you're like, okay, you have to be willing, open to be corrected, but you have to first have your relationship with God established first. You know what I'm saying? So that you don't get into worship mode and be able to hear, and you can feel it. You can feel when someone is correcting you from a loving place. You know it.
The difference.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, even like correction never feels good, but it's like you're not offended by it. Like, okay, it's videos that never got played, music videos I've did and paid for that have never been released to the public, because I had real friends to be like, well, that ain't it. And then when they say it, you hear them because you respect them, and then you go look at it yourself, because I'm going to look at it myself.
Right.
Yeah, you're right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I never put it out. You know what I'm saying? Like I've had people say, "Well, that ain't it,"
Yeah.
and it's like, and then once that is said, okay, I'm not okay. Now I still got to look at it for myself, but I got to look at it from an honest view and not dilute. Okay, yeah, you're right. That's trash. You're right, and I got better for that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I never put out no trash video again. You know what I'm saying? But it is a thin line. Like you can't, because if you put a person in God's status, then Lord have mercy. Like Lord could be telling you, I want you to move. Yeah, but you not moving because the person you have put in God's place is saying this is not right. And it's like even when it comes to like I don't. It's God does tell people to move sometimes. Now make sure it's God, because I've jumped without God before, and it's a bad thing.
Yeah.
But God does tell people to go from good things. Like okay, you thriving over here, now move.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That does happen.
Yeah, very
You know
much
what I'm
so.
saying? And if you don't have that vertical relationship,
Yeah.
you'll miss it.
You'll totally miss that
Why am I-
direction.
what am I doing? Like how many stories have we heard when they quit a good thing to pursue to pursue a God thing and it ended up being their purpose in life, but at first
Yeah. It sounded
it
crazy.
looked crazy.
It did.
Why did you give up this real estate company to go preach and it ended up being their calling?
I got a question for you. You being a black married man, how do you put courage and how do you lead with courage or instill courage into your family life?
No, you gotta have no. I'm honestly, it's sometimes. I said it in the last podcast, me and Audrey. I don't get it. I don't respect it. I don't respect no man who is not there for their children.
Yeah.
Now, it's different situations, but I respect any man who is at least attempting to be in their life. I don't respect because it's hard, but you don't get to run away from the responsibility because it's hard. It's hard because you got these lives, all these lives depending on you. Now, of course, God is the ultimate provider, but
Yeah.
they're looking to you and your decisions, the way that you like it's going to impact them.
Yeah.
And it's like it's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of pressure, and it's like you don't run. Just like I say all the time, you don't run. When you can't figure it out, you stay until you do.
Yeah.
You take all the you feel all the pressure, and you feel the pressure.
Yeah.
Feel it, embrace it, because like it never leaves. You know what I'm saying? Like that pressure, it don't go nowhere. I'm like it don't go nowhere. So what do? You move forward despite what you feel. You know what I'm saying? Cowards feel that pressure when they run away from it.
Yeah.
That's why I don't respect any man who don't attempt to be in there. And we know it's some ghetto situations. You know what I'm saying? Where like okay, but to just not attempt because it's hard,
That's
cowardly.
Yeah, that's honest.
You know what I'm saying?
That's honest.